So, it's this time of the year when we all get into goal setting, but I can feel some of your anxiety lurking around because you're wondering, right? You're wondering, is it gonna be like last year? Am I gonna be able to finish all of that? Well, my friend, you've come to the right place because I want to show you a different process of getting exactly what you want out of life. The days of starting and stopping goals are over. Like I said, New Year's resolutions never end up achieved, and I observed myself failing every year enough times to figure out a couple of reasons for that. Number one, I am someone whose goals change drastically throughout the year. So the goals I started with in January are not the goals I end up with in December. I also noticed that every 3 months my goals and my mindset around them shifts and with it my priorities. Like I might have wanted to focus on hobbies in the beginning of the year, but down the line I just started to care more about my finances, for example. So, really, a year is a very long time to plan for. And when I decide I want to switch up the goals, I feel some friction and guilt that comes with feeling like I've broken my promises to myself. Like, sorry, girl, we're not gonna learn Japanese this year. Number two, reason why yearly goals suck is that they are goals, which might sound crazy, but yeah, I think it is stupid to plan what goals you want to achieve in a year. It is stressful and it does not address the original reason we set these goals to become the best versions of ourselves and to have a life we're actually happy with. Getting the dream body, the dream house, dream job, dream whatever could get you closer to that, but it could also be another shallow goal to satisfy your ego. That's why I stopped setting goals. That doesn't mean I don't have goals. We all do, but I don't put them on a high pedestal. Like if I have a goal I want to achieve, I will either start right away or just write it down in my notes so I can get back to it when I have the time. That removes so much pressure from goals because I can start, stop, and resume a goal whenever I want and whenever I feel like it. And I don't have to even worry about if I'm on the right track because I have designed this guide to manifesting the exact person I want to become. So, my method is about planning in quotas and not in years. And this time, we are not setting goals. Rather, we are going to build an identity, a mindset. We are up leveling our beliefs, routines, and systems. So, before you know it, you don't have to dread the new years because you have a vision and direction when it comes to how you want your life to play out. I will show you the exact framework to becoming that girl or that boy, that person. You get the idea. So, the first step is decide what do you want the quarter theme to be about? What era are you stepping into? I usually decide my next era using intuition, or I will use a list of eras I want to try out that I have in my notes app. So the current era I'm in is consistency. So I write on top of my quarter check-in document, I am in my consistency era. The reason I chose consistency is that's what popped up in my mind a few weeks ago. Like I was offended with my lack of discipline. I know exactly what I need to do every day to become that girl and to get that life, and I just need to get consistent with it. So yeah, that's my focus from January to March of the next year, getting consistent with the habits that I sometimes fall out of. And what I like about choosing a vibe or an era is I will never stop wanting to be consistent. Like yeah, I might switch up my goals, but the vibe is still the same. Get consistent and disciplined. And just as a disclaimer, this era doesn't have to last 3 months only. If you need more than 3 months, that's fine. I like 3 months because, like I said, I go through huge mindset shifts like every 3 months. So, yeah, my goals might look the same as I switch eras or quarters, but the mindset about it is totally different. Now that we know what era we are in, we will start asking questions. And I like to divide these questions into 4 sections so we can drill down into exactly how we want the next 3 months to go. So first we have skim, which basically are questions about what happened last quarter, because it is really helpful to get a general idea of how the last quarter went, and because we do tend to forget stuff. So I do weekly planning too, and if you'd like a video on that, let me know. But basically, the first question is to look through all my weekly check-ins, basically to see what I accomplished, what I learned, what happened, what interesting things were going on. Everything that seems significant to you, write it down so you could look back on it later. Sometimes I even write some new perspectives or mindset shifts that happen. I will highlight those in my quarter planning because I like coming back to my quarter every day to solidify the new identity by using them basically as affirmations. So, yeah, that's a tip for you. Highlight everything that you want to reread frequently in order to change your beliefs. Next, you look at all photos or videos you've taken and do the same as before. Then you look at everything you wrote down, your journal entries, your notes, and just like before, write everything you deem significant and highlight what you want to come back to frequently. And lastly, I look at the previous quarter planner. And if this is your first time doing it, you might not have anything to look back on. But yeah, I usually look back at what worked out and what didn't since last quarter. And before we move on to the next section, this is my personal preference, but usually when answering these questions, I like to mention every little good thing that happened and ignore the negative things that happened, unless they're like a life-changing type of event that you shouldn't skip over. Next, we're going to celebrate! Yay! I find that most of us move into the next phase of our life without really taking the time to appreciate what happened and what we achieved. So I made this section just for that. And yeah, this section is so easy to fill out because you already skimmed through all your memories that section. So first question is, how has everything worked out for you or went better than expected? Like really, try to think about it. What surprised you and amazed you about last quarter? This is an amazing gratitude exercise, by the way. Other questions to help you really think about why last quarter is worth celebrating is, what did you accomplish? And what are some fond memories you have? And after I'm done listing all the great things that happened last quarter, I remind myself to take a moment to process all of that by asking the question, how does it feel? And then the celebration part. So choose some ways to show appreciation for you. I have a few lists in my notes of things that I like doing, things I want to experience or do. So I highly recommend creating those types of lists so you can choose what you like next quarters, but feel free to just think and brainstorm now all the rewards that you do deserve, okay? And don't hold back. Maybe even create a reoccurring type of reward. So now into the main course of the planning for your dream life. The last two sections were just appetizers to get you ready, but this one is gonna take time. So this third section is called Reflect, and it's all about the vision you have for you and your life. So the first step is to script out the kind of life you want to have this quarter and the kind of person you are becoming. What old stories are you gonna throw away? What new stories are you adopting? Like, are you gonna stop telling yourself how life is hard? Are you gonna have a more positive attitude? Are you gonna drop the unhelpful stories about what kind of person you are and step into new beliefs? What is this person that you imagine yourself becoming this quarter? What identity do you have? What does your day-to-day look like? What new perspectives, thinking patterns, feelings do you have? What media do you consume? And lastly, what and who do you surround yourself with? Take your time to write all that out because now you have created your manifestation script, basically. Try to read it whenever necessary because that's exactly how you're gonna reprogram your subconscious mind into believing that, yes, I am that person. Next, write about your why. What is the reason of doing all and becoming all of that? It is important to have a strong reason in order to continue, and whenever you feel like you can't continue, Just reread your why. Next, we're going to instill some fear because writing about your why is great and all, but according to research, remembering what failure means and feels like is also effective. So take your time to think, what would it be like to fail? How would you feel about it? How would you feel if you failed? For my consistency era, all I could think about is the anxiety of not getting stuff done and also the regret that comes with not giving it my all. So now it is very important to me to stay consistent. Next in this section, you want to understand the trade-offs because there is a reason you might not always feel like becoming the best version of you. And it is better to address it now in this document than have it show up later as self-sabotage. So think about what is not ideal for you about this new era. What are things that scare you or overwhelm you? What benefits are there for not going through with these changes? Because trust me, there are benefits. For me, I knew a huge benefit is more free time and less discomfort that comes with doing the hard stuff, like going to the gym and staying on top of everything. So now that we know why on a deep level we don't want to change, we're gonna counteract that. So think about how can you comfort yourself through this change, how to change the story from this is difficult to this is good for me and what I want. For me, I mentioned that usually my free time is used up in scrolling and I end up even more miserable than before. And that the discomfort that comes from a moment in the gym and eating well, for example, is better than a life full of discomfort as a result of living an unhealthy lifestyle. I also comforted myself by scheduling time for things I do enjoy. Like I am gonna consistently make myself happy. And also I am not gonna be rigid about what needs to be done. If I feel like a workout routine doesn't work for me, I'll switch it up. But I'm not giving up on the goal itself or myself. So you could also do some negotiating with yourself. What am I gonna give myself as an exchange? Because you can't force yourself into something new and uncomfortable without fair compensation, right? So if your next era is your gym era, you can be like, for every 3 successful days, I will give myself a break day. And if we stay on top of everything this week, we are gonna go on a solo date or hang out with friends this weekend. Remember, we are changing through self-love, not self-hate. You also want to consider if there are any obstacles in your way. If you want to get consistent with eating healthy, then you have to stop buying some types of food and ordering probably. If you want to go to the gym, you probably need a gym membership. And if you don't have that or it's not an option, try to think of other alternatives. It is useful to think of the real life practicality of your goals. Next, you can use mind reprogramming to make it easier for you to show up and do the work every day. I already touched on that by asking you to read the script you created for this quarter in a previous question. But if you want to know more in-depth information about reprogramming techniques I use, then check out my last video. It is a comprehensive overview of all my methods. Now that we are moving on to the last section, I want you to know even if you do all of that prepping, you might still feel resistance to change, which is normal, doesn't mean you have to quit. But just listen and try to understand whenever that little voice inside you pops up. Now we reached our fourth and last section, which is called improve. And yeah, this is the goal setting part of this check-in. So yeah, don't worry, you can still set goals. I just think it is better to think of the bigger picture before jumping to the nitty-gritty details. And we also do goals a little differently here. So first, do a brain dump of all the changes you want to implement. You can use the scripting exercise you did earlier as reference, or you can use a trigger list. If you don't have one, just Google that and use one. It is very helpful though to create your own because it will remind you of all your life areas that you need to work on and maintain. Then you choose 1 to 3 areas to focus on. I know you want to do more, but babes, we only have 3 months. You can work on other stuff in the next quarter. Plus, all life areas are connected, so if you work on one, you will see a change in the others. For example, if your only focus was the gym, you will see improvement in your productivity, overall health, academic and professional performance and success. So don't sweat it. Pick the areas that you care about the most, the ones that you're most excited about, and start from there. Then we are gonna think about habits. So if you pick the gym, what habits would you like to build up? So your workout routine, basically. You can also think of any tasks you want to get done. For example, if your era is about kickstarting your career, then some tasks to add to this quarter are creating your resume, getting specific certificates, etc. Then you can think about what do you want to own? Maybe a cute workout set, a standing desk, money, etc. Lastly, you want to think about how realistic all of this is. So think about what milestones do you imagine yourself achieving? Then ask yourself, how realistic is achieving all of that for you? Given your mental and physical capacity, given your responsibilities, and also general life chaos, how realistic is it? Then think, how could you undershoot just a little? If you want to start building the habit of going consistently to the gym 6 days a week, could you, let's say, undershoot and go for only 1 or 2 days instead? And I know that doesn't align with your fitness goals, but I told you, we are not doing goals here. We are stepping into an identity. And I want you to know that going to the gym 1 day in the week is only the beginning. As you embody this new version of you, you won't find it even the least challenging to add a few days every week. And before you know it, you're someone who goes to the gym every day. It is gonna be a natural shift, which is exactly what we need if we want a habit to become a part of our lives forever. So stop worrying about time constraints like this year or this quota, I gotta achieve this, and just focus on what is doable now. Enjoy your life, bestie. Don't try to optimize it. Notice how we didn't really set goals, like first you wrote down your vision of who you want to become, then addressed any obstacles or challenges, then chose what life areas to focus on, then created your habits, routines, and list of tasks, then evaluated how realistic it is. Very simple. I think this is a great way to go about it because it helps you detach from the outcome, because all you are focusing on is the identity and habits of your day to day. I find it less anxiety inducing for me to think of my life in this way, phases of evolving, so I just evolve my thoughts through reading the script to affirm and other reprogramming methods, and I also evolve my life through my actions and my habits. Very simple equation to getting the life you want. The first quarter routine is going to be difficult to imagine and write about, and it's okay if you don't answer all the questions. Just make sure to get a clear idea on the vision of the person you are becoming and how you will get there through everyday routines. Now, time for your homework so you could start working on becoming the best version of you this quarter. First, get the quarter guide from the description below and fill out the questions. Next, create a mood board or vision board. I like doing that because it's a visual reminder of who I am becoming. Lastly, make time for a little affirmation routine and use the stuff you've highlighted and your script as material. I'm thinking of creating a video all about affirmations and how to do them correctly. So let me know if this is something you all would like to see. And that's all. Good luck to all of us on this journey. Please let me know what will this era be about for you, like what kind of person you're becoming and what steps will you take to get there. See you very soon, my loves. Bye bye.